my name is Paige, this is Pages with Paige, and today we're going to be doing my May and June wrap up. Hello my darlings, welcome to this video. Today we're going to be wrapping up the books that I read in May and June. I didn't end up filming a May wrap up because I got COVID and lost my voice, but I have since decided that I would like it recorded for my own sanity, what I read in video form if I do need to reference it later, and also because I read a particular book that I want recorded. So we'll dive into the May stats and wrap up, and then I will jump to the June stats and wrap up as well. So I'll leave a timestamp for those down below, but this is going to be rapid fire. In May I read 13 books, which equated to 5,474 pages, which is 177 pages per day and 421 pages per book. I had 12 acquisitions. My average rating was a 4.12. I had 69.8 hours of listening hours. I read 2 classics, 2 contemporaries, 2 dystopian, 5 fantasy, 1 romance, and 1 sci-fi. I listened to 4 pure audiobooks. I read 1 book physically, and I had 8 audio physical combinations. I read 2 middle grades, 5 young adult, and 6 adult titles. 8 of these were authors I had read from before, with 5 of them being new to me. I had 1 2-star, 2 3.5 stars, 5 4 stars, 1 4.5 star, and 4 5 stars. I read 4 standalones. I started 3 new series, but I did continue with 2. I caught up with 1 and I finished 3 as well. I read 2 that were in the hundreds page range, 2 in the 200s, 2 in the 300s, 3 in the 400s, 2 in the 500s, 1 in the 600s, and 1 in the 800s. I read 2 2025 acquisitions, 6 backlist titles, and 5 books from my library. So for this year I've been using the core pile system to order my wrap-ups, and so we will go from the lowest rated through to the highest. My lowest rated, which isn't that surprising, is The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. I ended up giving this a 2.4 in core pile, which works out to be a 2 stars. I just didn't care. It was more realistic. It was very different. I'm not a big fan of Pinocchio anyway. It's just never a story that's really appealed to me, but it came up for Storycraft, so I read it. It was quick to get through, but it was just not something I have in any interest in when it's very much like, this is how you be a good boy. I'm like, it's a thing that I've read. Then coming in at a 6.5 in core pile and a 3.5 on the 5-star rating system is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I just need this documented that I read this in its entirety. Did I zone out during summer? Probably. I enjoyed this more than I thought I was. I genuinely thought I was going to DNF it or end up hating it, but there was enough to keep me intrigued. I definitely needed it to not be as long as it was and still tell the same story. I just like the writing. It's just, there's a lot of content to it. I think it was interesting in the themes that it explored, but also revenge narratives are not usually, well, I have to revoke that statement since I've been reading like the Mindfuck series and all of that. It was just a lot. And I think because there were a lot of different names that were thrown around, my brain just was very confused. But I did it. I did it. I read it and I liked it, which is surprising for me. Then we have Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean Maguire coming in at a 6.7, so a 3.5 stars. I'm just not a horse girl. I knew that was probably going to be the case with this, and I'm still really enjoying the series. I really enjoy how they go about it, but it's just one of those books that I knew going in it wasn't going to be my favorite because the Centaur world didn't really hold that much intrigue, but it was still fun and I really enjoyed getting to see Regan's character development as well. Then we have What's a Girl Got to Do by Holly Bourne, which was a 7.1 in core pile, so a 4 stars. I had a lot of fun with this. There was many a time that I was banging my head into a brick wall with the characters going just seriously, but I really enjoyed seeing the Spinster Club and seeing it develop and see how Lottie wants to go about navigating these dynamics within her everyday life. And I really enjoyed the exploration of activism burnout and how that happened, and the relationship dynamics in it was really cute as well. Then we have On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This came as a 7.5 in core pile, so 4 stars. I was struggling because I related to the mother of the main character more than the main character herself. I think that the messages that Brie was trying to talk about and present herself as was very valuable, but the way that things get twisted, it made perfect sense. And so I was just like, when the mama spoke up, I was like, Mama knows best. It wasn't the same 5-star feeling as on the come up, but I think there's so many important messages, and it also shows a teenager doing the things that they think is right and how that can backfire. So it was a really interesting read as well. Then we have Amari and the Despicable Wonders by B.B. Alston, which came out as the 7.7 in core pile, so again a 4 stars. I had a lot of fun with this. I needed this when I read it, and I'm curious to see where Amari is going to go, how we're going to navigate the rest of this dynamic and what has been revealed in this book. So I'll be curious to continue on with the series and see where we're going. It is the 3rd in the Amari series, so there's a lot that's happened since the beginning where Amari goes to investigate into her brother's disappearance. So there's so much that's happening, and there were many heartfelt moments in this, so I'll be very curious to see where we continue on with. Then we have A Conjuring of Light that came out as a 7.8, so 4 stars. Oh my god. This also, I was very disconnected from this. A Darker Shade of Magic was 5 stars, but I just don't think the series has been the series for me. Like, when I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing because it's a booktube darling, but actually, do I really care? No. So I think a lot of the emotional impact that was in this book didn't actually happen for me because I was so disconnected. That is also me leaving it 3 or 4 years between books, but I was very curious to see how it wrapped up. But I didn't know that there was a continuation series happening. I would have been fucking pissed if I had read this and not known that there was going to be more in this world. Then I have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which came out at a 7.8 and 4 stars as well. This surprised me. This genuinely surprised me. I had no intention of picking this up because I had heard such shit things about it, and I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect. It definitely was a story that was told, but I think I was just having so much fun getting to discuss this with people, and I don't know, it just hit in a different way. I went in not expecting it to make me feel sympathy for Snow. It was just, this is his history, this is what he's been through, and it was just really interesting to continue on with that and see how it all went and how he reacted to the games and things like that. Then we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, which I gave an 8.1 and a 4.5 stars. This was so much fun. I had a glorious time with this, and I ended up falling asleep for 30% of the book. So I went back and reread it, and oh my god, I'm so glad I did, because there were just moments in it that I was just like kicking my feet and squealing. So I had a really good time with this. I really enjoyed the magic in this and how there were different cards and their abilities. Was very fascinating to see how it all interacted with the world and how people went about things and what their motivations were. I apologize for the light. I can't be fucked fixing it. Then we have Lights Out, which came out at an 8.2, but I'm giving it a 5 stars on the rating system, by Nevessa Allen. Oh my god, this is fun. I had a fucking glorious time. Like, oh my god. I didn't know that this was what I needed, but I am obsessed. I just had a glorious time reading this. Absolutely unhinged, and it was exactly what I needed. Did I suspend my entire disbelief? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Like, it was really good. Next up, I have I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, and gave that an 8.4, so 5 stars for that one. This was such an impactful book, but when I finished I was like, that's it? But it's just sat with me, and I've continued to think about it, and think about how if we were in that situation, what would happen, and how I have no life preservation skills, so I don't know if I could be doing these things or where I would learn them from. So it's one that's just sat in here, and I knew that it was a really poignant read. It was really powerful, but the ending I was just like, okay, that's gut-wrenching, and then I closed the book. But since I've stopped and thought about it and just constantly reflecting on it, it's like, okay, yeah, this is a mastercraft of a book. Then I have Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells, which I gave a 9 in core pile, so that is a full 5 stars, whereas I Who Have Never Known Men was technically a 4.5, but I rounded up to a 5 star. I just love Motorbot. I'm having so much fun with this series. It's fucking fantabulous. Yeah, I didn't know how much I needed this in my life. I don't really care what the plot is. I'm just here to see Murderbot and how they navigate things and how they feel about things, and the emotions that they just navigate are just beautiful. And I don't have too many notes because I'm here for the characters. That's all I need. Then the final book is Locklands by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I gave this a 9.4, which is 5 stars. I love this. I can fully accept criticism for it. It's not the most perfect book. In the acknowledgements, Robert Jackson Bennett said he was writing it during COVID and it was a really difficult time. And you can feel that in the difference from the first 2 books. But oh my god, I'm here for these characters. My soul. I didn't feel as much of an emotional connection for the new characters that get introduced to this, and I think because I was keeping myself at an arm's length because Shorefall hurt me. It hurt me in ways that I have not yet recovered from. So I'm so glad that I got to read this series and had such fabulous time with it. So this plus quite a few library reads are the books that I read in the month of May. Let's jump into June. In June, I read 19 books, which equated to 6,555 fucking pages. This equated to be 219 pages per day and 345 per book. I acquired 4 books and my average rating was a 4.32. I had 62.3 hours listened. I read 3 contemporary, 1 dystopian, 7 fantasy, 3 manga, 1 non-fiction, 1 paranormal, 1 poetry, and 2 romance books. I read 4 purely audiobooks. I read 1 ebook. I read 3 books physically and had an 11 physical and audiobook combination. I read 2 middle grades, 6 young adult, 5 new adult, and 6 adult titles. 11 of these were authors I'd read from before, and 8 of them were new to me. I had 3 3.5 stars, 6 4 stars, 5 4.5 stars, and 5 5 stars. I read 7 standalones. I started 5 new series. I continued in 4, I caught up in 2, and I finished 1. I had 2 books in the hundreds page range, 4 in the 200s, 10 in the 300s, 2 in the 400s, and 1 in the 600s. I read 4 2025 acquisitions, 9 books from my backlist, and 5 library books, and 1 other. What was the other? So, into the books. The first is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I gave this a 6.4 in Corpa, which comes out as a 3.5 star read. I was very disconnected from this series, and I knew that I was. It was one of those that I picked up and I was like, yeah, I love this, oh my god, and then I've actually reflected on it and it's just not the story for me. I get so lost with names and the way that the different names had the different endings depending on the character dynamics. I disconnected in book 2 with it and wasn't following along. So when I got into book 3, I was so lost because I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I still enjoyed it. I still really enjoyed the wrap up of the narrative, and I knew the key figures. It would just be if they referred to someone in their interactions, I'm like, what the fuck? But that's me not reading along with this as closely as I should have to be able to pick up on those key points. So it's more of a me problem, but it was just, I was disconnected from the book already, and then I just was very ready for this series to be wrapped up. And I'm happy that I did wrap it up and finish it off. There were some scenes in here with people that I was just like, oh, hot diggity damn. But I enjoyed the ending of it. I just didn't give this book the justice that it deserved. Then I have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which again was a 6.4 in Corpa, so a 3.5 stars. And August in this and April May from An Absolutely Remarkable Thing would be best friends if they met. Just putting it out there. I really struggled with the disaster buy side of things. Like, I really appreciated it, but it also, like, the secondhand cringe just ramped up so much in this. So I enjoyed getting to see why Jane was stuck where she was and how they went about bringing that about, but also like the experiment, that was some consent stuff that just talk. 23-year-olds, just talk, okay? So I had a lot of embarrassment throughout it, but I still really enjoyed it. I was just like really enjoying some moments. Then I have Siren by Angie Sage, which is book 5 in the Septimus Heap series, and gave this a 7 in core pile, so a 4 stars. I really enjoy the nostalgic feeling that I have with this series, even though I've never read them before. It's very reminiscent of Magical School in the first book. We've now moved beyond there, but it's just interesting getting to see Septimus's understanding grow, but also think I'm falling out of love with the series. So it was, whilst it's easy to get through, I was just like, oh my god, okay, here we go. So being the 5th book in a series, I can't say too much, but it is very adventurous. It is a really, really good middle grade for those that are still in that area of reading. Like, if that's your bread and butter, I think a lot of people would find it so fun, but just is not hitting in the same way that I needed it to anymore. But still a very enjoyable read. Then I have The Map Makers by Tabs and Merchant. Again, a 7 in core pile, so 4 stars. This is also similar. It's just middle grade isn't my bread and butter anymore, unfortunately. I still enjoy them, but it doesn't have the same emotional resonance with me. I enjoyed seeing Cordelia navigating the different dynamics and how they went about it, and you know, it's not about the destination, it's about the friends we make along the way and learning to work together and all of that cute stuff. So it's a very cute middle grade. I do highly recommend the series for those that are interested in a very magical, whimsical adventure similar to the Wittersham Sisters by Michelle Harris. I think this has very reminiscent of those vibes, and I will definitely continue on with the series because the next one looks to be a lot of fun, but I'm just like, it's cute, it's fun. That's all I've got for you. Next up I have Is Love the Answer by Yuta Ozaki, and I gave this a 7.4, so a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I love seeing the different information about asexual rep and how they navigate what that feels like for them. I did read a few reviews, I think Ren's might have been one of them, of it does provide you with a really foundational level of asexual and the various forms of it, but as someone who was well versed in it, it wasn't necessarily necessary for them. Whereas for me, I'm not really confident in the asexual label and what that means to me and how that feels. So whilst I know the basic definition, which did literally spell it out in the book, it was nice to be able to just sort of see other areas that were new to me. So I enjoyed it. I did get some real secondhand cringe happening because it's like, I want to figure out why you two are fighting. What is romance? And I'm like, what's a relationship? And I'm like, okay. So there was like moments like that where it was like, okay, this is definitely, yeah, so settling with a happy 4 stars, but definitely had me just holding my breath for a moment. Next up we had Well Played by Jen DeLuca, which I gave a 7.4, so 4 stars. I've seen the reviews and you're like, how do I, okay, I'm gonna read the Stacey comes face to face with a man with whom she's exchanged hundreds of online messages over the past 11 months. To Stacey's shock, it isn't Dex. 11 months! Fuck! And then just, oh yeah. What? So I couldn't give it a 5 star. There was also not enough Renver for me. I needed more Renver in this. But like, come on girl, think about it. Also dude! So I don't want to say too much, obviously, like that in and of the back is enough of a spoiler, but just, it was good. I liked the relationship when we got there, but also I don't think I could forgive someone for that. I'll suspend my disbelief because she can, and it was very cute at the end, but oh dear God, communicate. Communication is a big thing that people apparently just don't do. Next up, I have 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot, and gave this a 7.7, so 4 stars, and I had a lot of fun with this. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. I can't remember why. I think I had heard mixed reviews, but I enjoyed it. Like, I think Charlie's character is one that takes a little bit of warming up to, because you can see that he's just trying to get by and not talk to people about things that are happening, and you know, that understandably, but it's also really hard when you can see that his friends are trying to make genuine attempts and he's like, nah, you've fucked up, like I can't trust anyone. And I get it. I understand the context of that, I get it, but you know, there was the opportunity to be able to have a conversation about it, and the way that they went about it, I just did really enjoy. I also really enjoyed getting to see the use of prosthetics and how it was like, oh my god, these are not designed for this, help! And then using the wheelchair at home, it was just really interesting. So I'm really curious to see where we go for the second book. I can't remember if it's just a duology or not, but if you're looking for sort of a paranormal spooky-ish, this would work great for spirits, for Herkiad, if anyone needs that. So I might use the second book for it. A lot of fun. And I enjoyed seeing the little bit of darkness where we went. It does not shy away from difficult topics. Then we have Hunter x Hunter Volume 2 by Yoshihiro Takashi, and oh my god, this is fun. So this is a 7.8 in core value and a 4 stars, but I just have so much fun. This is really just a fun, horrific book. Like, it's not horror, but some of the scenes I'm like, oh, okay, Jesus Christ. And I really did enjoy getting to see how Gon just navigates the different challenges. There's a lot of both physical capability but also mental creativity, and he is young and versatile enough to just think of creative ways around things, so I really enjoy it for that. Then I have Feybound by Sarah El-Arifi, and I gave this a 7.8, so 4 stars as well. My battery is going to die, so I'll swap that out and then come back rather than risk its wrath. I found Feybound really interesting in terms of the lore behind it and the different types of characters that we're following. I definitely was very surprised by a lot of different elements to it, and I just wanted to go in not knowing much, and I really enjoyed it for that. I think that their writing was absolutely beautiful, and some of the steamy scenes, I was just like, oh, I was not expecting. And just the level of diversity within it was absolutely beautiful. I think I'm really excited to continue on with Cursebound, and I'll be curious to see where we go. I can't remember if it is the beginning of a duology trilogy. Okay, so we still have one more book after Cursebound, so but I'd just be really curious to continue on and see what happens with these characters, because shit goes down by the end of this, so I'd like to see where they get up to. Next up, I have Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoka Kawai, and gave this a 8 in core pile, so a 4.5 stars. This is just so fun. Like, I was nervous because I was like, dear god, what if, like, I know Ash says that they don't throw up in it, but like they get nauseated, and I'm just like, I don't know how I'll go with my phobia, but it was very, very emetophobic friendly, so I just had a glorious time, and like the recipes in it was just so creative. I had so much fun, and I really enjoyed like just the way that they go about it, and this little dude, he gives me life. So I ended up picking this up after talking about it at the booktuber meetup. I saw it at Kino, so I picked it up because the guy's expression just made me laugh, and so I was like, cool. Really great choice on my part. It was so fun. So this ended up coming out as a 4.5 stars. Can't remember if I said that. My brain's not with me today. Then we have Toto by AJ Hackwith, which I gave an 8.1, so 4.5. This was so fun. I enjoyed this immensely. I know that not everyone's gonna like it. It is one of the lowest rated books on my TBR, but I just had fun. I went in expecting Toto to be a sassy dog, and we explored the world of Oz in a new way, and that's exactly what we did. It gave me the life that I needed, and I ended up switching this to read it for the Oz prompt for Amazing Readathon, so I was very happy with that, and just it fit the vibe. So I had a lot of fun, but I do understand that not everyone's gonna like it. But if you do need a house pet for Herkiad, why do I read these things before? Anyway, so definitely a good fun read. Next up, I have The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli, which I gave an 8.1 as well, so 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed seeing Rune and Gideon's dynamic. It did things that I needed it to. She was just fab, and whilst kind of stupid, I appreciate it. Like, you suspend the disbelief, because how the fuck would you not get caught? Like, really? But I appreciated her going into the role of, I'm going to be the airhead socialite so that no one really picks up on what I'm doing, and people just feed into that, because why would women be anything more than that? They can't be deeper than that. Yeah. So I had a good time with it, and again, her and Gideon just just talk, but I understand you're sworn enemies, but just like fucking don't. So I'll be really curious to see where we go for the second book. And I don't feel it as like enemies to lovers. It's like, you don't know that I'm your rival, but we're rivals to lovers, but also things. Next up, I have Somebody I Used to Know by Wendy Mitchell, which I gave an 4.5 stars. This is difficult because it is Wendy Mitchell's memoir. She wrote some of it and then had a ghostwriter, I believe, alongside of it. And it was so hard reading this because she got diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of 58. So watching her confront this new identity and just watching her memory spiral out. And then I looked up like her and if she had written more, because I know I've owned this since 2018. It was one of the oldest books on my TBR. Yeah, it came out in 2018. What she'd done since. And she's written 2 more books and has passed away. And the way that I was reading about the way that she chose to publish on her blog about her passing away, it was just like, oh my soul, cool, yeah, feelings. Because from reading this I can understand. She was a person who was so independent and so reliant on herself for so long that to lose her working memory, just to shake it up like a bookcase and be pulling books off and not knowing which shelf they were from originally, was just absolutely beautiful. So it was a really beautiful read. I think it's really important in looking at people who are diagnosed with these illnesses as survivors, not victims, not sufferers of it, because there is a lot on that spectrum of capabilities, and making the accommodations accessible to them so then they can have a high quality of life rather than just going, well, you're a sufferer of dementia, you can't think for yourself anymore, bye. But also, like, we can't allow euthanasia. Yeah, sorry, feelings, but beautiful. Then we have The Malevolent 8, which was an 8.4, so 4.5 stars. I had so much fun with this. I just love Sebastian de Castell's writing. This caught me by surprise. I didn't realize that. I thought we were going to based off the ending, but like it wasn't published as a series. And yeah, when this came out, I was like, yeah, no surprises. The kangaroo in it, top notch. Just, if you want a group of absolute fuckwits just fucking around and finding out, give The Malevolent 7 a go and you get on with it. It's one of those books that I have no words. I'm just here for a fucking good time, and it always delivers. Speaking of, the next book is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Wave. Can we tell I've fallen down my serial killer dark romantic comedy? Dark romantic comedy. Can we please describe this as a dark romantic comedy? It's not designed as a dark romance. It's supposed to have the comedic element into it. This is an 8.5 in Core Pass, or 4.5. I fucking had a glorious time with it. Like, Sloane and Rowan are just fucking unhinged, and I loved it. Yes, the things I don't have the particular kind of ice cream, but I have a very adjacent currently sitting in my fridge. I have not been able to get myself to pick it back up. I was misled in believing that the characters were going to do some of the triggers, which was why I was like, this is going to be kind of dark and fucked up. No, it wasn't them. Part of it was, the other part was not. So I'm just like, okay, this is funny, this is comedic, I'm having a glorious time. So I was so happy that I read this, and I needed it. I just needed the chaos, and yep. Check your trigger warnings though before going in. It is not for the faint of heart, and it is definitely an acquired taste, but I really enjoyed it. It's not gonna be for everyone, but if you want some fucking dark comedy in your life, this might be a good pick. The audiobook is also a duet, which is perfection on a stick. Then I have Watering the Soul by Courtney Peppernill, which I gave a 8.7, so 4.5 stars. I adored this little collection. I needed this so much when I read it. It was hilarious because I started reading it for a 24 and 48 hours for my Patreon readathon, and it's all about slowing down and taking your time with things and appreciating everything, and I was like, I need to speed read. but I still just did take my time with it, and it was beautiful. So I had a lot of fun with it, and a lot of the time I was just tagging things, just going, yes, if I need to recall on this, they're there, and then reading out sections to Ash as well. So it was just really lovely. Then we have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I couldn't help myself. Once I read Ballad, I was like, I need Haymitch's story. I give this an 8.8, so a 5-star. I'm rounding up to a 5-star. I didn't cry. I got teary, I got emotional, I was in my feelings. We then watched the entire Hunger Games movie series, and Catching Fire broke me on a spiritual level. Ash was holding me because I was crying so hard. So I have been traumatized by Shawful and holding characters in books at an arm's length. So we just didn't sob, but felt the things, and then we saw the things and added the visuals again, and she was not okay. So love my life. And then we got to Mockingjay Part 2, and I was just like, yeah, oh fuck, which was exactly the same as the last time I saw it when it was released in the movies, and I just pain, so much pain everywhere. So this was great. I loved getting to see Haymitch's story, seeing the way that the games have changed and why Haymitch interacts with the different people the way that he does in the Hunger Games series. Just, yes. Yeah, I've fallen down this rabbit hole. Although, for people that have emetophobia, which is a phobia of vomit, not great, not great. I am shit scared of watching the movie now because Ralph Fiennes as Snow and correlations to He Who Should Not Be Named traumatizing me as a child. It's him plus vomit, very descriptively described. Nightmare fuel. So we shall see. But just if, well, it is a trigger because like, it kind of fucks me up. But like, Butcher and Blackbird, he throws up in that. But it was fine in a way that it made sense. It also makes sense, but it was just a little bit more graphic, and I'm like, do we really have to put the image of Ralph Fiennes throwing up like that in my head yet? Please? I'm still in therapy for this. Might need to be in it for longer. But yeah, I had such a good time reading this, and it was exceptionally well done, and I think the way that Suzanne wrote it, the story that she wanted to tell, she did it fucking justice. And then we have Challenger Deep by Neil Schusterman. This was a 9.1, so a 5 stars, and my heart, you can tell, you know that this is something that Neil Schusterman has dealt with, and the way that it's explored and the way that I needed to give them a hug. I think it's a really difficult read because they know that something's not quite right, but they didn't have the words to articulate it, and by the time it spiraled out enough, they're now in an inpatient program. And then you're looking at the connections that are there and the way that they navigate those things, and it was beautiful. My brain appreciated the way that it was written as well, because we also have this sea voyage and being set on a ship as well, and my brain just struggled with it because it was so real, and I loved that about it because it was so authentic. So I'm really happy that Bert got me to read it for my Bookish Peeps challenge, because Neil Schusterman knows how to write, and this just fucking hits. It hits so hard. And then the last book, which also was a 9.1, so a 5 star, A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. Just fucking Bachman. Ah! I was not prepared. I have read the ending for Sufferathon, I think last year or the year before, no, it must have been, yeah, 2023. I read that ending of it. So I didn't know that I remembered some stuff, but as I was reading, I kept holding it at arm's length, because that's what we do with books now, because she's too afraid to become emotionally connected to characters in case they fucking rip her hearts to shreds, because she only has so many cells left in her body to have destroyed. One thing I will say, I love Ove. He's just perfection on a stick. I will watch Otto, but I will probably not be okay. But he is only supposed to be, speaking of old people, my dad's calling. I'm calling back. He is only supposed to be about 55-ish. I thought he was going to be like 70, 80. So when I realized that, I sort of also could take a step back because I was worried about it being very similar to my grandpa's age. So I was just like, oh God, and then feelings. But I definitely cried at the end. I got in my feelings, but also like not as hard as when I read the ending the first time for Suffer-a-thon, because feelings. And also I was thinking he was a lot older character at that time, but it's just funny. He's a curmudgeon. Buckman knows how to write people. It fills me with joy. We made it. This was the stack that I read in June. There's the stack I read in May. Holy mother of fuck. I apologize for the length of this video. It's going to be a fucking bitch to edit, but we can do it. So feel free to let me know in the comments what was something that you read in the past few months that you've absolutely loved, or was there anything that you were just like, why did I read this? Why did I put myself through this? Or are you also keeping yourself at an emotional distance from book characters so that you don't feel pain? Let me know in the comments down below. So like I said, feel free to leave anything you want to let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe. I'll hopefully see you in my next video or over on my Patreon. Bye!